Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush. With me, your host, Kris, a.k.a. Mini Wargamer Kris, a.k.a. The Name Butcher, a.k.a. All Out of AKs. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet, on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. Of course, it usually delves into a lot of painting talk as well as a lot of what's under the sun kind of talk. So if you're new to the show, we're off on a tangent of something, be it political, religious, or something humorous, or which those both other categories tend to be, be warned, because we can go anywhere in this show. It's all up for grabs, and so, be warned. And of course, if you are new to the show, feel free to ask your questions. Kris@miniwargaming.com, if you need a little bit of help. Of course, if you're joining me live, you can type your question into the comments. And of course, myself or the monkeys will be most happy to help you with your problem. And of course, if you are new, feel free to ask whatever you like. There are no questions that are, there's no bad questions. There's no dumb questions. Ask whatever. Everybody starts at this hobby knowing nothing. And so, ask the questions. Of course, be smart. I mean, you search around and you look for your answers, of course, if you're a clever individual. And of course, if you're a clever individual, then you've probably found your way here, of course, to our small little nook with myself or the monkeys. And of course, speaking of monkeys, who's joining us today? We've got Cocking 5555. He's telling us, we were chatting at the beginning of the show here. He's telling me that GW might be in trouble by the UK Gaming Commission. And so we were talking at length about that. So any of you folks in the UK care to shed any kind of light on possibility of GW getting in trouble from the UK Gaming Commission, feel free to share that, because that might turn into a news story of some sort. So I don't know how true it is. I mean, I'm not saying Cocking is wrong or anything like that. I mean, he lives there and he would know, right? But is it something that's getting blown out of proportion, or is this something that we really should be watching, because it affects our I was going to say our livelihood, but it's not my livelihood, I suppose, but it affects our lives in some small way. Who else is joining us today? We've got Haldane Urbanist, who's joining us here. And of course, he was commenting that I did a live stream last Sunday from my house, and that was just a test. And so guys might go into the channel there, and you'll find I was doing a test from home, and I was just seeing what my upload strength was from home. And it was pretty darn good. So, in case of any kind of emergencies, I can do my show from home. Or if I'm not feeling well, or I just don't want to leave the house, or, because sometimes it just doesn't work out that, I can make it to the office. And so sometimes, I have to cancel the show, or I'm not feeling well, I have to cancel the show. Whereas if I can do it from home, well then, it might be a really boring show, but I could sit there while I'm all sick and answer your questions. Just coughing away, all green and everything, just looking like a zombie. I might keep the lights really low during those episodes, and it'll be just kind of a sinister, face and cough, and, But otherwise, so that'll be fun. And next week, I'm planning, hopefully, I could pull it off. But I'm going to do a live stream from home next Saturday. So expect a slightly different background, as we will be in my cave, my lair. And of course, my lair is jam-packed full of crap. And so it'll be interesting anyway. Who else is joining us today? Man, we went on about this whole thing about, because basically what Cocking was mentioning is that going back a page here to the GW in trouble with the gaming commission thing, is that the randomness. There's less randomness in the game, which makes it more of like a betting kind of game, I guess. There's no random elements, and so that becomes a gambling sort of game, I guess. I mean, I don't know how that falls into place. I mean, poker is pretty random, right? You shuffle the cards, you deal them out. It's pretty random. Horse race, right? Horse race, horses run around the track. Never know which horse is going to win. I mean, usually it's the stronger horse, but, you have to do your homework. You have to know. You have to learn your information. And, of course, poker, some say that there's no randomness there. You're not playing the cards. You're playing against the other person. So what about Warhammer? 40K, Age of Sigmar and 40K, right? With 8th edition coming out, and apparently a lot of the random elements have been removed. So they're saying it's not, it's not like a board game. It's more of, I guess, a betting type of game. And apparently people bet on this stuff, and I had no idea. I mean, where am I all this time? Because I could have been making some cash on the side betting on Warhammer. And of course, some of you might not approve of it, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Myself personally, I mean, as long as it's moderate. Gambling is not a bad thing. I mean, yes, there are some people out there with, gambling addictions, and, they have real problems, and, of course it can, destroy people's livelihoods and, all those things. And, that's because, the person that is into it has got issues, right? It's just like, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, cigarette abuse, anything can become a vice that can destroy your life, and it's all about moderation. Life is about moderation. So there's nothing wrong with it, just in moderation, in my opinion. I know some of you probably disagree, and again, that's fine. Who else is joining us today? Oh, Guymere Ulfer. There's Carl. Of course, Guymere Ulfer is the young gentleman who was kind enough to devote some time to this show and provide us with the jingle for our emails. And so if you stay tuned long enough, you'll hear our jingles for the email. And of course, this show really wouldn't exist without, people volunteering time. I mean, my brother volunteered time to, provide a little bit of intro music for the show. And so of course, I always thank my brother. And whenever I talk to him, of course, I don't talk to him too often. He's weird. No, I'm just kidding. He's a great guy. And of course, we got Guymere, Carl, dedicated a little bit of time to, well, not a little bit. I have no idea how much time. We'll just say he dedicated some time to this show, which is awesome. And of course, we always thank Carl for providing the music for our email segments. Knitfink, hello everyone. Lord Krabby, sup party peoples. Moosehead Painting, hail to the Monkey King, and hi to the Monkey Minions. Monkey Minions. Ramv, hooyah, 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 oh yeah. Congo, the Jormungand. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but anyway. Hail, Dark Lord Kris. Ooh, Dark Lord, I like that. Dark Lord. Because if I was Jedi or Sith, I think you guys all know what I probably would be. Just saying. Dr. Santos, hola mi amino, almanos, mi almanos. Oh, I'm terrible. Mad Cow Crazy, bah, I'm late. Oh wait, LOL. Mini Wargamer Josh, what's up, monkeys? There's Josh. How come you're not at the office, Josh? You're like, this is like your second home. I assumed you would have been here today. Ramv, yo, Josh. Robert Scott, hello. Haldane Urbanus, nearly forgot my Warcray. Warcray? A Warcray? Monkeys assemble. We should have like a picture like superheroes, right? We're all flying, I don't know if I had time to draw that one up. So anybody who's really artistically creative and such, feel free. Sorry, this is getting a little distracting here on my screen here. There we go. Sorry, I was getting distracted by my own reflection here. I got the thing playing on the corner here, and it's delayed, right? So I mean, I'm seeing myself a second ago, and anyway, where was I? Mad Cow Crazy, is that an alien on the shelf to your front left? Next round droid from the new Star Wars? Yeah, that's an alien. I've got Predator and Alien on my shelf there. Hold on, let's see if we can just move over just a little bit here, just so you can get a little peek. Yeah, I've got Predator back there and Alien. I got BB-8. I've got Captain Phasma. I got some War Machine, some Robotech, some Star Wars, Infinity, 40K, and of course my little agonizer plushie, which he's just so darn cute. I think Games Workshop should get on that band. If Games Workshop is like borrowing a lot from Privateer Press type stuff, I think Games Workshop should start producing a line of plushies, like Space Marine plushies. I would totally buy Space Marine plushies because they're just so damn adorable. And you know what I mean? I'd love to have a little Ultramarine, little Blood Angel, little Space Wolf, little Dark Angel. You know what I mean? All the regular, the default chapters. Default? I don't know. Is that the right term? Default? Anyway, I think it would just be friggin' adorable, wouldn't it? I mean, am I the only guy here who doesn't want plushy Space Marines? I want plushy Space Marines. I want them. Damn it. G Square. Hey, monkeys. Danish artist? Huh? Danish artist? Question mark? Okay. Grey Death Angel. Hello, everyone. Hello, Grey Death Angel. Mad Cow Crazy. What would they be in trouble for? Monopoly or something? I don't know. Does Games Workshop have the monopoly in England? It seems like a lot of companies in the last couple of years, especially in England. It seems like all the gaming companies are in England. I guess they call it the Pewter Belt or something like that for all the wargamers in that area. I guess it's like Nottingham or something like that. Anyway, I don't know. I could be completely wrong about that, but yeah, it seems like a lot of wargaming companies are in England, and it seems like everybody's vying for that almighty dollar. And does Games Workshop have the monopoly on wargaming? Do they? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. Because like Privateer Press took a good chunk of their popularity over the last couple of years, over 10 years, Fantasy Flight Games. I mean, they're not really into the miniatures, but they kind of are, and they've taken a big chunk. And recently, Games Workshop left their partnership with them for stuff, which is kind of interesting. I mean, because Fantasy Flight used to do Final Fight, right? Anyway. They used to do the Talisman, and I love me some Talisman. And then GW drops out of their license agreement with them, or what they did, or Fantasy Flight, one of the two, or they just separated, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But I'm curious now, is Games Workshop going to produce Talisman? Are they going to do a new version of Talisman? I think they will, because now they've got this new line of miniatures, these fantasy miniatures, and I think that, we're going to see a Talisman box set that has like a bunch of these fantasy miniatures in it. But the question becomes, like, are they going to reinvent the game, or are they just going to simply, give us a new board, maybe 3D kind of board, I don't know, with new Age of Sigmar type models? Is it going to be Talisman in the Age of Sigmar? Is that what it's going to be? It'd be kind of fun, because then they could have Timescape in there, and that way they can include Space Marines into the game, so they can have like all sorts of craziness, right? Because Age of Sigmar, it's all dimensional type stuff, right? I mean, Age of Sigmar is wide open. It's actually more wide open than 40K is, as far as having kind of crazy crap in the universe, and I think that's kind of fun. I think like the more and more I kind of like research about Age of Sigmar, because I'm not really into Age of Sigmar. I was into fantasy back in the day, and I loved me Bretonnians, and then Age of Sigmar just kind of dropped Bretonnians, and it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And yeah, I nerd raged a little bit, and I would like to see Bretonnians come back. So again, Games Workshop, if you're watching, I want to see Bretonnians, man. Bretonnians, for God's sake, give me Bretonnians in Age of Sigmar. Could you imagine how beautiful those friggin' sculpts of Pegasus would be in Age of Sigmar? Like the way they do the CAD now, like they give us those great sculptures. Like, come on, I give the people what they want, man. And I'm not the only guy out there who wants Bretonnians in Age of Sigmar. I know there's another guy out there who's pretty well known, who is on your staff. Anyway, who else is joining us today? I was gonna say Snoop Dogg, Shaggy Dog. How do, folks? First time tuning in live. Well, welcome, Shaggy Dog. I almost said Snoop Dogg again. Bleep, bloop. Hey, y'all. Made it. Bleep, bloop. Bleep, bloop, bloop. Matthew Stockham. Hey, Kris. Just made it back from teaching in time to watch another great episode of Way of the Brush. Well, welcome back. Shaggy Dog, question mark. I don't know. He had a question mark about something. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. Johnny's Chop Chops up, monkeys. George hints. Message retracted. Uh-oh. What did he say? What did he say? Lucian Villansor. Hey, Kris, or at Kris. Hey, here for Monkey Roll Call. Well, welcome. George Hintz. What about those brushes? What about them? What about them? What about the brushes? It's like Ghostbusters. Tell them about the Twinkie. What about the Twinkie? Anyway, if you haven't seen Ghostbusters, kill yourself now. The old version, not the new version. Dr. Zantos, is he weirder than you, Kris? Is that actually even possible? No. Samuel Berg, I'm here. Black Widow 61. Hi, Kris and monkeys. Ghost to Starman Deluxe. Monkey Squad, roll up. Josh Binderman. First time catching it live. Hello from Australia. Holy moly. It's got to be like the middle of the night for you, isn't it? Middle of the night? When is technically the middle of the night? Because I always kind of, like, night is kind of like, 10 p.m. to like 4 a.m. 4 a.m. beyond, like past 4 a.m. I consider the early morning. So what's the middle of the night? Is it like 1, 2, 3, So I don't know. These are the things I ask in life, and I never got a clear answer on from anybody. It didn't seem like, it was kind of like the birds and the bees, and I just had to muddle my way through it. Samuel Berg, whoa! Is it whoa? Whoa? Good. Arturo Patet, rest easy, mates. I am here without a shirt and covered in oil. Whoa. That paints a picture. He's well marinated. Aaron Seach. Hey, Kris. Hey, monkeys. Plasma Plays. Hello, all. Been a little while since I've been able to catch a show live. Well, welcome. Ben Shun. Hey, Kris. Looking forward to another innuendo-laden episode title. Hey, man. I don't make up the titles. That's you guys. You guys make up the titles. I don't do it. Don't blame me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Moosehead painting. Today I'm painting the last details on some Adeptus Arbite conversions. I made a Shadow War. He made for Shadow War Armageddon. Cool. Send pics. Please send pics. Jameson Half sucks. I have to log off soon. Have a ton of new guy questions today. I'll bombard you next week with them all. Well, if you don't have time today to catch live, send me an email. Feel free to send me an email. Please send me an email. And please feel free to ask questions. Anybody out there, feel free to ask the questions, either sending it in the comments or sending me an email. Because, again, I only do this show to help you guys. And if you guys don't ask me any questions, there's no reason for me to do a show. So this show is all about you guys. This whole thing is all about you guys. Not me. It's about you. Aaron Siege. Plushy orcs would be better. Plushy orcs would be awesome. And then like a plushy Tyranids. Plushy Tyranids. Could you imagine plushy Tyranids? They could just borrow like the Zergs plushies from Blizzard. Anyway. Dwarf Lord. Hey, Kris, from Japan. Dwarves be here. Aye, there be dwarves. Clayton Tate, Way of the Brush. Perfect for painting my human team. I almost said teeth. For Blood Bowl, themed on Trailer Park Boys, Letterkenny, Great White North. Beauty play. I have not watched Letterkenny. I hear nothing but good stuff about it, of course. But yeah, and Trailer Park Boys. I never watched them in order, or I always kind of caught them here and there and stuff like that. And so I've been watching, because they're on Netflix now, and I've been watching Trailer Park Boys. And I've got to say that if anybody, like, I knew it was a good show, and it was funny. Every episode I caught was funny, but like I was kind of disconnected from everything because I didn't know. And it really, you can kind of just jump into the show at anywhere and kind of just you get the gist of it from the start. But yeah, I'm watching from the very beginning, and the show is close to genius. It's somewhere just below genius. I don't know if it's quite genius. It could quite possibly be genius, but it's like, if people ever wondered if Canadians have rednecks, You know what I mean? Like Americans have rednecks, right? What is the Canadian version of rednecks? It would be Trailer Park Boys. Yeah. If you're from Europe and if you can get your hands on Trailer Park Boys, that will give you a really great insight into Canadian life. Where are we? I'm lost. Dwarf Lord GW kicked themselves right in the dinglers by ignoring the community for so long. Yes, they did, because that's what allowed other miniature companies to rise up from the ashes, as it were. And now GW has become, GW is almost like the Eldar in 40K, right? They had a vast empire, and then they completely effed it up, and now they're just clinging on, and they're trying to reclaim their former glory. And yeah, GW is the Eldar in 40K. That's the GW's living. Is that life imitating art, or is that art imitating life? You be the judge. Where are we in the comments? I'm gonna have to skip a few of these because we are way behind. In the comments, I'm just searching for names I have not read before or have seen. Robert Scott, but in Age of Sigmar, there are no Bretonians. That is so sad. I was a Bretonian player for 12 years. Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying. They can bring them back. There's nothing saying, man, it's like interdimensional stuff. They can totally just, all of a sudden, Bretonians come out of the warp gate and, hello, I mean, there's no reason that they can't do it. It's there. They can retcon it. They've retconned stuff all the time. They can totally do it. It's their game. Nomag 23 afternoon Nomag. Haldane Urbanist at Kris. LOL, by your definition, I don't sleep at night. Haldane, Haldane, I thought you were... No. Oh, yeah, when we were talking about what's the middle of the night? Yeah. Well, because Buddy was in Australia, and I thought Haldane was in Amsterdam. Anyway, I'm probably wrong about that. I don't know. I can't keep track of everybody's biographies here. You know what? Everybody should just send me a bio of themselves, like just their handles. And no, you know what I should do? I should bring back Way of the Brush conversations. That's what I should do. I should bring back conversations where, I contact, like, say, some of you monkeys, or I contact somebody else in the wargaming community and just have a conversation just to get to know them, and, stuff like that. You know what? I should totally bring them back. Do you guys think I should bring it back? Thumbs up. Bring it back. I don't know. Twitchy Kranos. Hey, everybody. Hey, Twitchy. Matthew Perez. Hello, friends. Early lunch today. Can't wait to be off and watch everything live. P.S. I want a plushie nid. I want plushies. Everybody, we should all get together. We should start like a pledge thing for where we how like the White House has, petitions. That's what we need. We need petitions for GW. GW needs to have a petition page where we just spam them with crazy ideas, and then everybody votes on it, essentially. And that's essentially democracy, right? Everybody has their say, and of course everybody can spit crazy ideas at them, and then either they do it or they don't. But I want plushies. I want plushie Space Marines. And if somebody out there is doing plushie Space Marines and I just have never seen them, like they're on Etsy or something like that, send me a link, or let me know, because I want plushie Space Marines. Or if anybody's really proficient in sewing and making plushie things, I want a plushie Space Marine, and a plushie Eldar, and a plushie Orc, and a plushie Tyranid. I just want my room to look like a 10-year-old girl's, where it's just nothing but plushies on the walls. Unicorns and plushies. That's what I want. I want unicorns and plushies. My walls are this light blue, and I always make the joke, I should have like a big rainbow on my wall with like a unicorn, and have little clouds and stuff. No. Anyway, Soul Edgar, hey Kris, fellow monkeys. Kris, I got my hands on a bottle of Liquitex Flow Aid. Can I use it as a retardant? Not really, no, because it's not retardant. It's Flow Aid. Liquitex does make a retardant. A few other acrylic companies do make retardants. Be mindful of what kind of retardant you do pick up, because some of the artist grade retardants, I can't remember what the heck the company is called, but they do artist grade retardant. And it's an additive. You got to be careful of additives and mediums. Okay, if you're getting into the artist grade type of stuff, if you're getting a medium, it'll be thicker and it'll flow more like the paint, right? Whereas if you get an additive, it'll flow more like water. Okay, and I have one tannin, I think talon, I think it is talon. It's but French talon. Anyway, and the additive, man, it keeps my paint dry for like days. Like it just literally it makes the paint act like oil paint, because oil paint, if anybody's worked with oil paint before, it takes like a week for oil paint to dry. And this is what it did to my acrylic paints. So I was painting a miniature using this Artigrade stuff one time, and yeah, my miniature was still wet like 2 days afterwards, and I was like, what the heck? So then I got that was when I was still playing with retardants, and I realized that additives, for whatever reason, they seem to last longer than the mediums, depending on how much you use, of course. But for our miniature painting needs, most retardants, like Vallejo retardant is the one I most commonly use if I'm using retardants. I find that less than a 1-to-1 ratio. Any more than that, and you're really going to slow, but you're also going to break the paint way down, right? And you don't need to use retardant as your base coat. You can lay your base coat down, and then if you're going to build up color transition, you can always use that same base color, add retardant to it, and then pick your highlight color, and then do a blend. And then that way you have the underside showing through your thing, and then of course you can create the blend as well through the other ways as well. So, but yes, that is something to be mindful of, is retardant versus additive. If it's an additive, you're never going to get it dry. It's going to be wet forever. So hopefully that helps, buddy. David Vaughn, just about to buy first airbrush, been looking at a bunch of compressors. Any tips on what to look for when buying one? How much horsepower is sufficient for an airbrush? Usually the horsepower is only like 1 horsepower. They're like less than a lawnmower engine. I think even 1 horsepower is way too much. Or maybe, crap, I think the compressor I use, I think it says it's like a 1.3, I think, or something like that. I'm probably really, really wrong about that. But anyway, the horsepower really doesn't matter. Because if you get a compressor that has a storage tank on it, okay, so it has the motor, and then it has a storage tank underneath, like an air tank. Look for one of those if you can afford it. Usually you can find some for a decent price, and get one with a tank, okay? Because if it has the motor, even if it's a really strong one or a very weak one, depending on how fast it cycles the air, you get this like, it's very, very subtle, but you can see it when you're airbrushing. You can see the because the motor is going through the cycles, right? Versus if it goes to a tank, the tank builds up pressure and it gives you a constant flow of air from the brush. So it's like, you know what I mean? If we're doing sound effects. And when the tank starts to get below a certain pressure point, then the motor kicks in and retops off the tank, kind of thing, right? So if you can get a compressor with a tank, and most airbrush compressors, they're not very high. You don't have to worry about the HPs on them. Really, you just want to find one with a moisture trap, right? If you're if you're looking for a bare bones compressor, you're looking for a compressor, you're making sure that the fittings fit your airbrush hose and your airbrush, and you're looking for a moisture trap, because you need the moisture trap, because sometimes when you're doing long airbrushing sessions, moisture can get into your airline, okay? And that's just the nature of the game. And so with a moisture trap, it actually siphons off that moisture in there, as I guess it has to do with the way the motor draws in air, compresses it, throws it in the tank, and then as air is getting compressed in the tank, moisture builds up, right? Because it's drawing air from the air, right? And if there's moisture in your air, guess what? There's going to be moisture in your tank, and that's what the moisture trap's for, is that it siphons off that moisture as it goes through your line. And so you definitely need one, because otherwise the moisture inside the line will get into the airbrush and mix with your color, and it will actually over thin your paints, and so you'll end up getting this watery paint mixture, and you'll be like, why the hell is my paint so thin? And why does it come out really watery and not stick to the model? And you know what I mean? And you'll have all these problems, and you're like, I don't know why. It's because your moisture trap. So Bum, 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 bum. Where am I? Yeah, so David, don't worry about what HP it is. Just find one within your price range, and if you can, get one with the tank and get a moisture trap, and make sure that the fittings fit your airbrush. You're gonna have to do a little bit of research, but that's fine because you want to shop around anyway, find the best price for what you want, and find the right. It's like buying a pair of shoes, right? Just find the right ones for you that work. Mad Cow Crazy, your first airbrush should be $20 Chinese, one from eBay. That way you don't cry when you F it up and destroy it by mistake. That's also another possibility as well. Go with a cheaper option because your first airbrush, yeah, you're not going to be a pro at it. And I mean, my first airbrush was the Badger Patriot 105. I'm really anal about, cleaning and things like that. And so I took care of it right from the start. And Austin from Death Ray Designs, formerly Brush for Hire, he did a video series for Mini Wargaming. It's in our vault called Airbrush Everything, and it's a fantastic series. If you're brand new to airbrushing, definitely have to watch it. And if you're not a vault member, you got to sign up. You can sign up for free. Try it out. You probably won't leave once you sign up, though, because you'll see, holy crap, look at all this crap in here. This knowledge, it's like pretty soon, like the vault, because I'm pouring all my knowledge. It's like Sauron, right, in the Lord of the Rings, and so I'm pouring all my knowledge into the vault, and so pretty soon the vault will become alive. It'll become my consciousness, and then I can take over the world. Or not, I don't know. Or I'm completely wrong and crazy. Okay, so Haldane Urbanist said, Kris, was it in the UK for 7 years? Back in Malta now. I often sleep at 4 a.m. Oh, okay. Plasma Plays, please bring back conversation. I'd love to talk to you again. Yeah, you know what? Well, I mean, okay, Plasma, you convinced me. I should bring back Plasma Plays. I should bring back Plasma Plays. I should totally bring back conversations, yes, because it's been a while, and I've had some ideas for conversations. Some people I'd like to get in contact. Some of you monkeys, of course, but with some other war gamers as well. I think it'd be just kind of fun, because I mean, what do we really know about some of these war gamers we see on YouTube, right? What do we really know about them? And I'm willing to get down to the nitty gritty and really personal questions with them. We'll delve deep into their souls and find out, what makes them tick. Oh, Samuel Berg, that's an excellent idea. Plush Nurglings. Little friggin' Nurglings as plush. My God, that's just already too cute for words. That's too cute for words. A plush Nurgling. My God. Somebody has to make these, please. And if you are a plush maker out there, please send me one. I would love a plush Nurgling. That would be freaking awesome. I would love him and hug him and squeeze him and pet him and call him George. Raziel Wargamer, woo! Made it for the show. Well, welcome, Raziel. Sammy Berg, Kris, did you put braids in your hair? Yes, I got braids in my hair. Sometimes, like I mentioned previously, I mean, like, I sometimes go back and forth whether or not I want to cut my hair and shave my face. It's getting hot, and sometimes, I'm getting old, and the hair just, it's heavy, and so if you're not going to style it, then why have long hair? And so I style it every once in a while, when I got time, and I bugged the wife today, and she was kind enough to abide my whims. So yeah. Haldane Urban, is that Kris? Email time? We are very close to email time. Holy crap, it's already 12:30. Jeez. Yeah, we better get to emails soon. Because we got quite a few. You sent me emails this week. So, yeah, we better get on it. Because I think I'm starting to fall a little bit behind. I'm not too bad. We're going to jump to one that's from the 6th of May, which only puts us at 14 days behind. So that's not too bad. 2 weeks? Not too bad, considering. Maybe I should do two-way the brushes, right? One from here, one from home. One being, goof off. The other one being strictly emails, or goofing off and emails, or both are goofing off and email. I don't know. Anyway, Arturo Patet, Kris, I'm trying to paint blues. I have Cantor Blue as a base and build it. I build up from that to Altioch and then Calgar, but it seems to be missing another light. What would that blue be? Another light blue? There's an edge blue, blue horror. That's a really really light blue. Of course, what'd you say it was? It was Calgar blue. Oh, Calgar blue. What the hell's the light blue called? Teclis blue? No, not Teclis blue. Lothern blue, or yeah, because Calgar blue is kind of like this one, and that's Lothern blue, and of course you have blue horror, right? So blue horror, right? See, get this little transition going on. Yeah, so blue horror. If you're looking for a really light blue, yeah, get blue horror. Alrighty. Quit fiddling with my paints here. Keep my hands in my drawers. So hopefully, Arturo, that answers your question. Or helps, at least. Gets you in the right direction. I don't know. Razio Wargamer, my first airbrush was the Patriot 105. Got a Sotar after that. Very cool. I don't have a Sotar. I've got a Renegade Chrome. And, you know, from what I understand, the Sotar and the Renegade Chrome are kind of very similar. I mean, airbrushes, really, airbrushes are very similar, right? It's really just the nozzle arrangement and the taper on the needle. That's what the big thing is the taper on the needle. The shorter the taper, the broader the spraying. The finer the taper, the more precise you can get control. Of course, it takes longer for the needle to move because it's got a longer taper, but, you know, and it's much, much sharper. So, yeah. Of course, you know, needle thickness, of course, matters as well, but, I mean, overall, you know, in theory, that's really kind of what it really is, you know, yeah. Soul Egger, yep, Kris is Sauron confirmed. Yeah, I'll be sitting there forging. I should do some with a big paintbrush, and like paint splattering, you know. And he poured all his cruelty and malice into, you know, his miniature. You know. Anyway. Clayton Tate, episode 158. My God, give me a plush Nurgling. There it is. You know what? We're going to keep it as that right now. I don't know if anybody else can win that one. Clayton, you're the big prize winner. What's the prize? I have no idea. But if there was a big prize, you just won it. You just won it, my friend. Besides, Clayton, when are you coming for a visit, dude? Like, when are you going to make it to this side of the planet? You know, to come for a visit? Because, I mean, like what the F? I mean, it's probably more likely I'll make it to BC before you make it here. So, really, you know what? Maybe I'll just have to come to BC and just throw down. Because I've always wanted to go to BC. It sounds like some nice territory. And I'd like to see, like, the redwood trees. I like to see those. Those would be cool. I'm a bit of a nature buff, so yeah. Shaggy Dog, Plushy Nurglebums. No, not Plushy Nurglebums. Samuel Berg, I just found a pic of a Plushy Ripper. Yeah, because I got the Plushy Agonizer, and this little guy is just too damn cute. Now, for anybody who is not familiar with War Machine, well, actually, technically, it's Hordes. This guy is for the faction Scorn, and in the game, it's really quite sad. In the game, they whip these little guys and they cry and you can't do any magic around them because they're going wah, wah, you know, they're screaming and stuff like that. And it actually it's kind of sad, really, when you think about it. But they're just too damn cute. But yeah, he's a little baby agonizer. Anyway. Yeah, I want Games Workshop to produce plushies. I want plushies. I want them. Anyway, I got him sitting on my galleon. I got an agonizer riding my galleon. Crap, can I not get this back up here? Son of a beehive. There we go. Oh, that's precarious as hell. He's not sitting there. you're going to see that fall, and you're going to see a whole whack ton of models go crashing down. Then you're going to hear me scream the loudest F word in your life. So be prepared for it. Haldane Urban is BC, British Columbia. Yeah. Clayton Tate, he's on the other side of the country. I'm in Ontario in Canada, and Clayton Tate, he's in British Columbia. Vancouver? Are you in Vancouver, Clayton? I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I can't remember where I was going. Was I going somewhere with that? I don't know. But anyway, King 555. My God, give me my workshop plush. No, it should be give me my Games Workshop plush. That's what it should have been. But I think Plush Nurglings says it right there. Can you imagine how friggin' cute that would be? Little Plush Nurglings, man. It'd be like Beanie Babies, man. You could totally make like a whole bunch of Plush Nurglings like in different poses. You know what I mean? Like immediately, right off the top of my head, you could do see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, right? You could do that with the little plushy Nurglings, and you could totally, you know what I mean? And you just have like it'd be like freaking Beanie Babies, man. It'd be a craze, and that's how you get people into this, because then be like people like, look at these disgusting little green blobs, like they're just so furry and cuddly, and they're just so damn cute. Like look at these things. Of course, now they're gonna have to give me royalty rights because I just threw a whole bunch of ideas out there. So. Or no, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't come up with the Nurglings. Somebody else came up with the Nurglings. I don't know. Either way, you know what? They have to give us royalty rights now. Cocking 555. What a celebrity tour of Kris. You should come down to Portland. Or Cocking, are you in Seattle? Like, are you in Washington? Because if that's the case, man, jeez. Have to hit up everything. Well, because the other fun part is that like Seattle's another fun town I wouldn't mind hitting, because I'd like to check out, like Lock and Load whenever they do that, right? Because I still likes me some War Machine. I mean, I got it on my shelf of happy memories here. So Ravenov, hey Kris, how's your Necromunda team doing for Shadow War? I'm not playing Shadow War, but if I was to play Shadow War, I'd probably dust off my rat skins and just play as like an Imperial Guard unit, just for giggles. Or I'd bring some Eldar. But then, I don't know, nobody's playing Eldar, it seems like. I don't know why. Or Harlequins. I'd bring Harlequins and be that guy. I just have to play as that guy. You know what would be really fun, though? I'd love it if... Games Workshop produced like Corsairs, the Eldar Corsairs, and give us rules for them. But I mean, that's more Forge World's department, so it'd be nice if Forge World chimed in a bit too. I sent Forge World an email asking them a question, and they still haven't responded to me. Freaking guys. Anyway. Plasma Plays, if I ever drive up to Mini Wargaming, I'll have to be a weekend trip. I think it's an 8-hour drive. Yeah, well, because, Plasma, you're in the Chicago area, right? And that's what it was for us. It was an 8-hour drive. Because for Adepticon, Matt and I and Dave, we were riding together because we were bringing all the equipment for the show. And, that was fun. That was fun. Matt was actually after we got to Chicago, we sat up and everything like that, and then Matt was like, "Okay, go away." Matt didn't want to talk to me anymore, so I was like, "Well, what the hell?" I was like, "Oh well, screw it." I said, "I don't want to talk to him either." So I took off. Where am I? Haldane Urban is that Kris burst our eardrums time. Why did he fall? No, he didn't fall. Oh, Moosehead Painting. Mini Wargaming employee plushies. Now, you know what? Okay, so Dave is working on a board game. And I don't know how many of you guys have been following that, but if that's news to you, then check out Mini Wargaming. Dave has a little forum in Facebook. If you want to check it out, he posts like news and he asks questions and trying to get input and stuff like that. But he has artists working on caricatures. And you know what? When you mention plushie Mini Wargaming, yeah, because the way these characters are kind of drawn, they could lend themselves to being little plushies or something like that. So that's something to consider. Arturo Pretend, I need a 3-second warning on the email time. A 3-second warning? Okay, just turn your headphones down. Hold on, man, I need a drink here. Hold on. Not a drink. Oh yeah, that's gonna be the beauty part about beauty. About doing away the brush from my house is I can drink whatever I want during the show. I mean, I could right now too, just as long as you guys don't tell on me. But otherwise, because Matt and Dave, they frown on alcohol on the premises, and so can't quite do that because I don't want to upset them. But if I'm doing away the brush from home, oh yeah, I can eat, drink, and do whatever I want. In fact, I might even just show up and weigh the brush in like my house robe with curlers in my hair, with a mud mask on, and just totally relaxed in my slippers. Anyway, yeah, okay. So email time, here it comes. So turn down your volumes. Oh crap! Forgot the jingle. Email time. Email time. That's still my favorite one, Carl. Okay, so this is from Haldane Urbanus. Hello and salutations, monkeys. Some work in progress pics. I could really use some opinions and inspiration. First up, work in progress of my Crimson Hunter's flying stand and base. Had to stop working on the Crimson Hunter because of second thoughts about my color scheme. So I decided on work on the Wraith Lord coming up next, and the flying stand after moving back home. The basing theme was inspired by local landscape, the transition from karst to Cargu. I'm probably totally messing those names up, but anyway. Karst terrain occurs all over the world, including North America, while Gerg seems to be unique to the Mediterranean coast and islands. So, it's his base. Oh, okay, wait. I did a small bamboo. Well, here, you know what? Let's look at the picture while he's talking about this. Oh, I can't read the email while I'm doing that. So he's got these big pieces of slate in here with the little rocks. I like this texture. I really like that. It has kind of this, it's kind of got this coastal shoreline kind of look to it. Actually, kind of nice. It actually would look pretty cool if you had like a little bit of water, like it was a coastline kind of thing, right? Just like 1/3 kind of, for example, like if it's just a little bit, a quarter, I guess, of the base was dedicated to some water where it looked like it's like a beach or something. That's the impression I get from this. I don't know if that's really where you were going with this, but yeah, that's where I kind of go with looking at that. At least in North America, that's how a lot of beaches look around here, is really kind of like big rocks like that. And mind you, though, there's some beaches up north that have like the nice round pebble stones, really beautiful. Anyway, I did a small bamboo. You did a small bamboo, yeah. I used too much super glue. Oh, boo-boo. Bamboo. Frick, I can't read. Anyway, I used too much super glue when attaching the stand to the base, which made the stand itself cloudy. It was worse, but I learnt a nice fix. Use a polishing compound for brass, silver, bronze, gently working the affected areas with a small cloth and a little bit of polish to polish away the surface that has turned cloudy. I intend to polish some more to see if I can improve it further, then hide the worst parts near the bottom with scrub. Yeah, you can probably just do that. The cloudiness, yeah, I mean, it's not such a huge issue. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you can just snap that off, repolish it, and, away you go. Another one, I think, polishing it should work. I'm trying to think of what the heck the other one was for clearing off superglue fog. I want to say it's like mineral spirits, but I could be wrong. Mineral spirits shouldn't do anything to that plastic. Even rubbing alcohol would be fine as well. But yeah, polishing definitely would be the best way to go. You got to be really, really gentle. If you're using like a rotary tool or anything like that, you got to be really, really gentle with it. Otherwise, yeah, you could end up melting the plastic. But yeah. So my first question, typical karst landscapes. Am I saying that right? Karst? Anyway. Karst landscapes, including here, have much whiter large rocks. My plan was to use a combination of skull white and Carrickstone glazes with water or Vallejo glaze medium. to do so while leaving the recesses look muddy, as you can see in the photo. On the other hand, I think the base already looks pretty good. What do you think? In either case, the smaller stones and the sand will get a couple of dry brushes, probably with Carrick Stone or Pallid Witch Flesh, and a final one on White Scar, because it should look like the dried mud is stuck in crevices in the stones rather than covering them. The color of the soil is pretty close to the stony soil you find here on the coastal areas. It leaves a red stain on the less exposed faces of rocks and stones. Suggestions and critiques are much appreciated. In my opinion, if you're going to start off with that darker brown, I think the rocks could use a slight dry brush, say in Carrick Stone, just a very light dry brush, just enough to just capture just a bit of those edges, and also the little stones themselves. But I would do the stones. I'd do the stones almost to a white. So if you wanted to go, say, to Screaming Skull or even White Scar, I don't know if I'd go all the way to White Scar, maybe just to capture just the edges, but I would do it just for the stones, and the ground itself I would hit with just the Carrick Stone, just a very light dry brushing, just to bring that texture out a little bit more. But otherwise, yeah, there's not a whole lot there that I would change. I love all that texture. I like the look. I love the stones in combination with the texture going on there. If you want to have that dried earth in the recesses of the stones to kind of make them look like they're like kind of sunken in and just been there for a long time, yeah, you could add that. Of course, though, you're building up the base quite a bit, or you'd have to really kind of work those stones down. But I don't know if you have access to a stone grinder or anything like that, so that seems kind of out of the question. Of course, you're building up these big kind of heavy bases when you're using, lots of natural materials. But again, a heavy base for your flyers is not a terrible idea, because then it keeps them fairly grounded when you're playing with them, if you're playing with them. But yeah, I like the colors getting now. It's very earthy feeling. I think just a slight dry brush just to bring that texture out. I don't really think you need to hit it with much more. If you wanted to hit it with a semi-gloss to give it kind of that semi-wet kind of look, a little bit of a muddy look, but of course you can always hit it with a matte and finish it and give it that dry earth kind of feeling. But yeah, so I don't know. I like where this is going. I don't think you need to, if you're going this darker brown, I don't think you really need to change too much going on here. I think just a slight dry brush, the Carrick Stone, just to bring out just that little bit of texture. Not too heavy, not so heavy that you're changing too many of the face values, just enough to capture those edges. That's all I'm talking about. Holy man, it looks like that friggin' Wraith Lord standing there. Anyway. Next, the Wraith Lord, my only casualty moving back from the UK, was the converted arm. Moved out and the joint altered, so it looked like the Wraith Lord is balancing on one leg to stomp someone into the moist earth. It's being repinned and the additional piping expansion joint area resculpted from green stuff. I did a better job the first time, sadly. The white stuff is Vallejo's putty that I used to touch up the sculpted parts and blend them better with the model. In my opinion, it is much easier to use this first time for me over that devil's magic that is liquid green stuff than working regular green stuff for the gap areas and touch-up jobs. Yes, plastic putty from Vallejo is my favorite gap filler, seam line kind of hider, and yeah, overall it gets my approval. Liquid green stuff from Games Workshop. It's just a name. It's not actually green stuff at all. It's not a two-part epoxy. Anyway. So, magnetized heavy weapons, so many options. There is no art as diverse and beautiful as the art of war. Eldar martial proverb. Also, with bonus IG officer to curb stomp. You're curb stomping them. Jeez, that's awful. Also magnetized so I can tailor the stompy to my opponent, and because I'm strange. That's awesome. I like the fact that you have it modifiable so that whoever is in your gaming group, so if you got like an IG player, you can switch it to IG. If you got a Space Marine player, you can switch it to a Space Marine. I like that idea. I like that a lot. That's very fun. And that's a good way to get your opponents involved and, kind of cheese them on kind of thing, right? The weapons are finished and turned out pretty decent, though nothing fancy. Note, for the sake of our incumbent OCD, all weapons are aligned to the same way for the photo. You are welcome. It would have bugged me too. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so now for my question. And of course, Haldane, this email is wicked long. Or maybe it's just the way we were just kind of been trucking through the pictures and such. Anyway, now for my question. The base is going to be a rich dark soil with the Wraithbone runes, as you can see from the base coats and the tufts of static grass. The Wraithlord itself was going to be a dark blue and Wraithbone, so far base coated. However, I stalled a year ago because I'm not sure that works as well as I thought. What do you think? Wraithbone and blue, I think, works fantastically. You will see some Altia color schemes like that, where they replace the yellow with the bone color. And they keep the bone color kind of like on the yellow side, but it's still like a bone color. I think it works out fantastically. If you say, for example, you go with, say, you start off, say, with like McCraig blue or Cantor blue, something darker blue like that, and you work with base coat the bone areas with either Ushabti bone or even Carrick stone or something like that. You went with that. I think you have a winning combination there. It would look good. Trust me. So what do you think? What about the head, which I forgot to bring out for the photo shoot? I was planning on red trim with the head proper painted like Steve's Wraith Knights, as shown in the quick tip back when the world was young. I often use red as a detailed contrast color on my craft roll, but I'm open to ideas. I use bronze the same way. Thanks for all the helping. May your spandex never tear and your army never see battle on a bad hair day. Especially you, Gim. Toodles. Wordy git. Haldane. So, yeah, I think the bone and blue would work out well. Giving it a red trim, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think, like, if it's just like a slight little trim like that, I think that would work well as an accent color. Even like, doing like your weapons and stuff like that, and them having like a red accent, something to draw the eye to, the key elements of the model. I don't see any problem with that at all. Even the brass, or even like copper. Copper would be another good one, right? But brass would work well. Brass might be a little too dark. Not brass. Brass or bronze? Did he say brass? Crap, I can't remember what he said. What did he say? What did he say? Bronze. He said bronze. So bronze, yeah, bronze is a little dark. But bronze allows you. Now the fun part about bronze, the bronze allows you to start to throw that verdigris in, the oxidization. So, there's also that. But anywho, thank you, Haldane, for sending that in, and thank you for the update on your work. And that picture of the Wraithlord standing in the street, that looks so cool. Let's go back to that one real quick here. This picture, call me crazy, but that looks like he's in the street. You know what I mean? Like the lower plane, it looks like that's the street, and the buildings are at level with that. And like if he was a little bit more in focus and the background was a little bit more blurred, I think you would have had us tricked. We would have said, "Holy crap! There's a goddamn Wraithlord in his streets." But yeah, so again, Haldane, thank you for sending that in. That's awesome. And hopefully the few words I had of advice help you in any way. The base is a very light dry brush. I like that brown, and how it gets really dark in the crevices. I like the texture, everything. I think it looks really fantastic. I also mentioned that maybe like a little coastline of water, if you want to play around with water effects or clear resin or anything like that, is another area you might want to try. Of course, you always got to dam off those areas of the base, but hey, if you want to make something that looks really kind of spot on, those are the efforts you might want to try. So hopefully, again, Haldane, that helps. Haldane Urbanist, yeah, the heavy base for the flyer is a nice plus. Yes, I'll bet it is. Wargren, long time no see. Work sucks. Hello all. Haldane Urbanist at Kris. Thanks for the advice. I think I'll give you a suggestion to try. Send more pics. Not quite my plan, but might work better than expected. Awesome. Hopefully, again, that helped. Bum, 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 bum. Where are we? Sephian? I don't know. Sephian is talking to all sorts of people, but I don't know how long Zephian? Zephion? Anywho, Kevin Eyes, there it is. It looks like a balcony to me. Well, yeah, he took the picture on his balcony. And I love a lot of those old Mediterranean like style places and stuff like that. Well, because he's in Malta, right? So, yeah. Reminds me too. So, there used to be some cute little Maltese girls I used to know back in the day. I have to go visit Malta sometime. Anyway, got myself sidetracked there. Haldane, stone roads don't work so good. Not sure what Kris was seeing. Oh no, because it looks like the Wraith Lord, like the way that plane is, right, and the way you had the buildings, the lines look like they lined up properly. So like that was a stone road that the Wraith Lord's standing on, and then the buildings were right there. It looks like it looked. Haldane, love the idea of using water effects on my next one. Yeah, give it a shot, man. Either using water effects or clear resin. Clear resin usually gives a better result. Water effects can tend to be kind of fussy, although Liquitex does make some really interesting mediums that are very heavy bodied and are actually a lot of modelers, not modelers like wargamers. I'm talking like the like World War II tanks and stuff like that. Those modelers, they use like for boat effects, they'll use that stuff and they'll make like the waves and they get all those kind of effects. So if you're looking for a bit of inspiration, I definitely would look at some of those guys that are doing like ships and stuff like that, like the scale models of ships, and how they're doing like the water effects and stuff. And that's going to be your inspiration, I think. Zephian, I'm not going to correct you on my name, Kris. It's Finny. Hearing you, figure it out. It's Finny, eh? I don't find it too finny. Was he hit in the finny bone? I don't know. Let's do another email because I can't get rid of this picture. There we go. You guys can probably see me fiddling with everything too. Anyway, okay, let's do another email because we can. Because we are. And if you don't want to, too bad. This is from Two Gun Painting. Hi, Kris. My thanks for the great channel. I have just recently made the decision to try my hand at commission painting. Came back to the hobby a year or so ago after many years away. Some of my recent work in progress for you and the monkeys to look over. Any comments appreciated. My thanks. Two Guns. Oh. Here we go. Apologies. Clearly didn't attach them. No! The name is tiny and I had trouble getting it in focus. Oh, the gnome. Wow. What the hell did I say? Anyway, the gnome is tiny and I had trouble getting it in focus. Now, look at this. Here, let's go to a better shot of this. No, that's not it. That's close enough. Oh, wait. No, I need to click the picture. Yeah, good enough. This looks fantastic. If you're a commission painting service, have you tried Mini Wargaming's commission painting service partnership program? There's a lot of work that we have to get done, and we're always looking for commission services, mainly because we always have to go find new people, because once we've advertised for a commission painting service, they're so busy that they can't actually take new projects, which is kind of hilarious that so if you're serious about commission painting, buddy, if you're deadly serious about it, then check out Mini Wargaming's commission painting partner program. The links are on the website, also in the forum, but yeah, check it out. But because you're painting here, like this looks fantastic. I love the smooth color transitions you got going on here. The tones are just right. He like his pose is so animated, and your highlighting and the color scheme is so nice and neat. Your blends are just spot on. Which one am I on here? Yeah, let's get a closer look here. Yeah. Now, is it like a combination of glazes that you're applying? It kind of looks that way. Getting that nice smooth blend. Because like on the leg here. It's really, really nice. Fantastic job. It's nice and neat. And I just love the soft transitions in the colors. They're so subtle and nice. I like it. I really, really like this paint job, dude. It's fantastic. And honestly, I would not bother offering any kind of advice on this. Just because I like the style, like nice clean style of it. Again, his pose is so dynamic that it kind of has, this very animated kind of feeling to it. And it lends itself to the paint job to be, very soft and kind of animated feeling, right? With these kind of bright, bold colors. I like that, you stayed with bright, bold colors rather than trying to go with realistic tones. And you know what I mean? Like, I like this. I like the nice, clean look of it. I like how his pistols look. He got like his jeans and his boot, like everything just looks really spot on here. I think it's just a fantastic paint job. Here's a little Skaven Duder. Let me see the work on that globe. That's really nice. Looks like he gave it a bit of a gloss coat too for some contrast in the surfaces, of course. But this is really, really awesome. The transition in the horns, very, very nice. The staff feels like this part needs something, but otherwise, this all just looks really, really awesome. I think the eyeball too. The eyeball for my liking. But again, it looks like you got some OSL going on in the eyeball, looks like. But again, really neat. Your color transitions are really nice and soft and subtle. It's fantastic. Oh, is this the gnome? I think this is the gnome. So apparently he couldn't quite get a clear picture of it. But again, I like the style. I really love these big soft transitions you've got going on here. Very, very subtle. Very, very nice. No need to have these really kind of harsh highlight edges. And I like that. I like that, you're only going a few steps above and below your base colors. I like that. And for me, it kind of fits the style. It feels like it's like taken from like a graphic novel or something. You know what I mean? Like it just has almost like the cell shading effect almost. Except you don't have any kind of harsh lines or anything like that. Where often cell shading does have harsh lines. What's the hell this guy name again? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, from the old Hero Quest game. Very, very cool. Love the transitions in the green. Very nice effects. Looks like, again, you might have hit that with some gloss, or you deliberately threw in the white harsh highlight like that. The blood on the axes, very nice. Again, nice and clean. Very nice stuff. And if you're a commission painting service, well, by God, man, I mean, you shouldn't have any trouble. And of course, I mean, oh man, here, I don't know how many commissions you've taken, if any yet, because I know you were just mentioning that, you were considering getting back into the game. I certainly hope you are, for that level of skill, I certainly hope you are charging an appropriate amount for your time and not underselling yourself by doing, a Space Marine for like $5 or something like that. My God, man, that's a waste. That would upset me greatly if you are not charging the appropriate amount of money for your work, because your painting is it's so nice and clean. First and foremost, it's so nice and clean. I like it, and I like your glazing is awesome. You just such wonderful transitions in there. I assume it's glazing. I don't know. I'm assuming, because that's what it looks like on the coat and everything like that. It looks like glazing to me. But anyway, it's awesome. Where are we in the comments? Metal Parsnip looks awesome. Yes, it does look awesome. Metal Parsnip. Yeah, I know. So I agree. Holy crap, that's amazing. I know it's amazing. I agreed. Zephian agrees with you anyway. So like this dude can sell his painting services. He's better than most of those out there. Oh yeah, no. Like, man, there's so many great painters out there, and there's so many really great commission painting services out there, and I don't think they're charging the appropriate amount for what they get done. Like people, the only way that this stigma for commission artists to break, war gamers from, well, can you just paint my army, and but you like painting anyway, and no, you got to charge an appropriate amount of money if you're going to make this some sort of viable business. Like if your goal is just to do it for fun, maybe make the hobby pay for itself, kind of thing, right? Well, then fine, if that's your goal. But if your goal is that, you know what, honey, I'm going to stay in today and work on models because this is my day job now, and I'm going to make the most of this. And, I love painting. I love having this free time. And, I think I can really make this a business, and I know how to do this right. And I'm charging the appropriate amount of money for my efforts. Then yeah, if that's your goal to, turn it into your day job, then, you got to charge the appropriate amount of money, like what is your time worth? That's the important question. And until all the artists are in agreement with each other that, we've got to start upping the rates on these things because too many arseholes out there are lowballing each other for crap paint jobs, then, people are going to just keep going to these crap artists and take too long and blah, blah, blah. And so, for the really talented people out there who really want to make a serious go of this, unfortunately, you've got to charge what you are worth. You have to charge what you are worth. And it's hard to know what you're worth. And sometimes, it's not easy working out that price tag, but, you got to do it for your own sake and for your own sanity. You got to do it. Robert Scott had Kris. I painted my energy swords on the Dark Angels with Leadbelcher, Nuln Oil, Runefang Steel, and then Gilliman Blue. What do you think about it? I think it's an excellent way to go about it. Okay. You could probably skip a phase, okay, if you took, say, Abaddon Black or Abaddon Black, added it to Leadbelcher and say even 1-to-1, did a base coat, then Leadbelcher, and then Runefang Steel, and then Gilliman Blue. I think you would get a better result, only because the the Nuln Oil, especially if you have the older one, which would dry with a matte finish, it's just that it's going to kill that metallic luster on the sword, right? And you really want the Gilliman Blue to play with the metallics to give you that nice reflectivity back. And so you're seeing all that blue reflecting off that blade, and you know what I mean? So if you have the Nuln Oil, that's the gloss version, it's not so bad, but again, when you add your Gilliman Blue, it's going to mix with that Nuln Oil. Versus if you based using a mixture of Leadbelcher and Abaddon Black and mixed it and then laid it out. And then Leadbelcher, and then Runefang Steel, and then Gilliman. I think you might want to try that. Just because it'll keep all that metallic luster in there. And when you lay your Gilliman Blue, it's not going to mix with, a small layer like Nuln Oil, right? So that's also what you want to avoid as well. Zephian, maybe a discount for War of the Brush viewers. War of the Brush. For a second there, I thought I mislabeled my show. I was like, wait, did I call this War of the Brush? War of the Brush. That could be like a game show where you have like a bunch of painters and they're all right, go. You know what I mean? War of the Brush. Or it's just really War of the Brush and you have a bunch of painters in like a circle and it's like gladiatorial combat and they're all trying to kill each other with brushes. Like they sharpen up the end like a shank, like a prison shank, and they're, It's like John Wick 2, where he's got like the pencil. He's killing people with the pencil. If you haven't seen John Wick 2, sorry, spoiler alert. You know how the spoiler alerts work around here, right? So, yeah, spoiler alert. Mad Cow Crazy. The problem is price per hour. If a painted book, if a painted book, man, I cannot read today. If a painted, if a painted took 10 per hour, it costs 100 for just a few minis. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. But if it took you an hour per, so that you're basically saying it would take you like 10 hours to paint a Space Marine, right? Does that seem a little long for you? Now, if it took you, say, 10 hours to do a full squad of, Marines, say 10 Marines, and, they were all brought up to a high tabletop standard, I'm talking like, highlights, transfers, based, right? If you went the whole 9 yards on them, then yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right for 10 Marines, $100. That sounds about right. So yeah, it all depends on what your time is worth, what you're doing. I mean, you got it, because cleaning and preparing the model, that's something that's got to be accounted for. Priming, base coating, highlighting, shading, details, decals, bases, all those phases cost. That's time. You gotta charge for that. You have to charge for it. So, yeah. Shaggy Dog, people pay crazy money for art. I'd say those models quality as proper art. Sometimes, yes. If you're paying for a display piece, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're paying for a piece of art. Mind you, though, it should be something you're happy with, that you're willing to spend on the money. You know what I mean? Like getting, a well-known artist to paint something for you is not a small deal. That piece is quite valuable. And I think I think, a lot of even, famous, like popular wargaming artists out there, they're not charging an appropriate amount of what their work is worth. And they're underselling themselves. They're devaluing themselves. And they're devaluing everybody else's work when they do it too. So, yeah. Anyway. Before I get mad. Zephian, I like both ideas. Get on it, Kris. Make War of the Brush. Make it happen. Make War of the Brush. Where everybody just fights and kills each other over painting commissions. Whoever's left alive gets the commission. That's pretty much what it is. Everybody lowballs each other all the time, man. And that's another reason why I couldn't do commission painting today. I couldn't. Because everybody lowballs each other. And I mean, like, mind you though, if I'm to charge, I know somebody had asked me a while back, and this was a while ago. Somebody had asked me if I did commission work, and if I did, what would my rate be? And I told them, as long as I don't have to assemble it, and if we're talking just, tabletop, high tabletop quality, I said, it's 3 times the retail value of the model. That's a rough estimate. You know what I mean? 3 times the retail. So if the model costs you $30, $90. You know what I mean? And like we mentioned before, how many hours to spend on it. It's about right. Heck, I mean, realistically, if I was painting, say, like a Space Marine, and I was going to spend, say, 3 hours on it, doing it to a nice high tabletop job, which I doubt would take me that long to do to a nice high tabletop. Yeah, it would probably be anywhere in the realm of $40 to $60 per Marine. If I was going to bring them to a high tabletop with color blends, transfers, all that, yeah. You're probably talking $40 to $60 per Marine. Sounds expensive, doesn't it? But that's what time's worth. That's why I don't do it. So, anyway. Dr. Zantos, Kris, how would you paint the red-skinned orcs from the Warcraft movie? The red-skinned orcs. Well, Dr. Zantos, I thought you were a Vault member. Because I've done red-skin orcs. I've shown a few variations on doing red-skin orcs. I've also shown a few variations on doing green skin with red shadows. So there are a few videos in Mini Wargaming Vault on that very subject. But what specifically, like I'm not sure what exactly kind of color we're talking about. Like, are they kind of greenish with the red, or are they purely red with like dark shadows? Because if that's the case, then it's kind of just, painting red, right? But if you're talking green skin with like red shadows, then it's a little bit more interesting. But yeah, Dr. Santos, I thought you were a Vault member. But anyway, there are videos in the Vault, and doing red skin. Well, I mean, one of my current favorite ways of doing red skin is I like to start with Rhinox hide, which is a dark brown, but it's very close to the red spectrum. So it's kind of a red brown. It's almost like terracotta almost, but darker. And I like using that as the beginning. You could also use Abaddon black as well as your base and then build up from black. But I often like to do brown and then go Mephiston red, Evil Sun scarlet, hint of Wild Rider red if need be, and then possibly doing it in either Kindle Flame or Fire Dragon Bright as just kind of spot highlights here and there. And that should work if that's what we're talking about as far as red skinned orcs. I'm not familiar. I've watched Warcraft, but I don't remember, and I don't have a picture on hand as far as what red skinned orcs with a C. Warcraft. The movie. Red-skinned. And we're talking from Warcraft, right? The movie, or you know what? I don't remember any orcs being. Did you say from the movie or from the movie? Because I don't remember any orcs from the movie being red-skinned. Sorry, I'm trying to look for a picture here from the movie, and I'm not finding it. Oh, is the main character supposed to be like that? Like, these guys aren't red, they're... Man, what color is that? I'm looking at Buddy there with the chin beard that betrays Buddy. And of course, the whole tribe of them was. I assume that's the color you're talking about, right? Yeah, you know what? That almost looks like if you took green and red and mixed them together. That's what that looks like as a base coat. Otherwise, it kind of has the quality. Yeah, he is kind of red, but he is kind of almost green in the recesses of his skin. It's kind of hard to tell from the dark pictures, but I'm looking at the very light pictures. And yeah, I have shown, highlighting greens or shading greens with red. And of course, this would be the opposite because he looks like he's at his high points, kind of darker red kind of toned. And he's almost green in the striations of his muscles. And his face almost looks like it's got a hint of green. He almost looks like somebody who's brown skinned but looks ill is what he looks like. But yeah, I assume that's the color you're talking about. Really, it's more of a flesh tone with hints of green or reds in it. Like if you took, say, Cadian flesh tone or Bugman's Glow, that's what he looks like. It looks like you add Bugman's Glow and then gave it a light shade wash of a color like Baltan green, thinned out, and deliberately let it fall within the muscles and such. Didn't let it oversaturate the area, just enough so that it fell within the recess, just to give you a slight tint in that area. That's what that kind of looks like. Yeah. Who initially asked? That was Dr. Xantos that asked me about the Warcraft orcs, right? Yeah. Yeah, so Dr. Xantos, I meant brown. I don't know why I effed it up. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, because they're kind of brown, but yeah, you can, I'm looking at one picture. I just quickly Googled what they look like. And the orcs, like the main character's tribe of orcs, right? And yeah, they're not quite green. They're not brown. They're not red, but the color, it looks like when you mix a light green and a light red, when you mix them together and get this kind of neutral brown color. That's what that looks like as the base. And then like he's kind of green in his shadows, and his face has a slight tinge of green to it, but like his flesh still has kind of a reddish quality up at the high points. And so yeah, that's kind of a tough one. I don't think I've shown anything like that, because that's kind of the opposite of like orcs with the red in the shadows, which is the one you see, or even oranges in the shadows you see. And so, yeah, that's kind of more of a brown with the greens in the shadows. It's almost how you do kind of undead kind of flesh, actually, you know? So, yeah. I don't know. How I pretty much described it there is probably how I'd go about showing how to do that in a nutshell. So hopefully, maybe that answers your question. If not, maybe I'll have to give it a try and try a model, and maybe get an orc boy and paint him up as that, and see how it looks. Of course, the 40k orcs aren't good examples because they often have a lot of them covered up, and fantasy orcs, you know what I mean, I might make a much better example because they're mostly bare, like they're mostly uncovered. So, well, at least like the savage ones anyway, right? But anyway. Where else are we here? Clayton Tate. Mini Wargaming needs a skit where they pretend to put all their giant metal models into a giant sock, and then someone swings it around and it weighs 12 pounds and then knocks everyone out for the ultimate dread sock. I don't know why that would need to be a skit, but okay. That sounds kind of dangerous, actually, Clayton. It sounds like you want to hurt some people. You might want to talk to a therapist. Arturo Patet, new MTV reality show, anyone? War of the Brush. Yes, we'll do it as a War of the Brush. It is a reality show. Oh, man, that'd just be awful. You're talking about adding to the noise, man. Dr. Santos, man. Oh, yeah, you meant Brown. Okay. Arturo Patet. I opened a door I didn't know existed, Mad Cow. Huh? What existed? Mad Cow Crazy. Miniature painters are like 3D graphic artists. You can't get work because the market is limited. So 3D artists make porn and painters sell themselves cheap. Huh? I mean, sure. I mean, it's all very limited, but I mean, it also falls upon yourself to how you market yourself as well. If you're not willing to put the time in and the humility to, start at the bottom of this field and do your work and pay your dues, then yeah, you're going to look to take cheap, easy routes. You know what I mean? And just like painting itself, there is no cheap, easy path. You have to take the time. You have to put in the time, and you have to put in the effort. Sad to say. And that's with every profession. You have to put in the time. You have to pay your dues. Everybody who's in the game, they paid their dues. Maybe, yes, you get one or two that lucky and, but you have to be friggin' talented for that kind of thing to happen. Or lucky, right? So, and there's no account for luck. Dr. Santos, Kris, there was a Kickstarter with orcs similar to the Warcraft movie Orcs, and might someday get one of them. Cool. Awesome. Danish artists, there are many sculptors out there, and I have seen a couple, and strangely enough, they are mostly based in Poland. I know, and I often wondered that one myself, and somebody told me that, in fact, Poland, because their economy is not really awesome, that they have a lot of because a lot of the commission services, it doesn't really cost them that much to do it, right? So it's kind of like why companies go to China and they mass market stuff, and because the labor is cheap, and that's why apparently in Poland, that's why these people can offer their services, because they're basically devaluing their own efforts. Even though I think say Den of Imagination, they are in Poland, I do believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're in Poland. Do fantastic work. I have no idea what their rates are right currently, but if they are not charging an appropriate amount of money, then they are undercutting themselves and they are missing out, because they do really great work. And I know they've done some work for mini wargaming, and so I know that I'm pretty sure they're pretty busy too. So yeah, but they do really nice work. And yeah, I know. And it seems like really a lot of great painters are coming out of Poland these days. I remember back in the day, it was France. It just like were kids going to freaking college and university studying miniature painting, because like some of the models that were coming out of France back in the day, beautiful, still beautiful models coming out of France. Don't get me wrong, beautiful models coming out all over the place. But it seems like a lot of really great painters are coming out of out of like Poland and stuff. And so, wow. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe something in the water. Maybe there's something in the water. Could be. You don't know. Maybe living that close to an irradiated place like Chernobyl, maybe they've got superpowers. Maybe the radiation gave them super abilities. They have super painting abilities because of the radiation. That's an awful joke, I know. Adrian Tolas, Kris, do you have anything to say about the new Army Painter war paints? The war paints? Are they new? I know Army Painter has had war paints for a while. I have a whole bunch of them. I think they're fine. I think they're great. They tend to dry with a slightly glossy feeling, which a lot of people like. Some people don't. So, take it for what it is. Their black is really good. Oftentimes when you're looking at opaque colors, you look at the yellows and you look at the blacks, because the black and yellows tend to be fairly difficult to get good coverage on. And GW probably makes one of the best black and one of the best yellows. Covers really, really well. And Army Painter war paints, they're good. And I mean, you don't pay the premium you do like Citadel. So, and they're dropper style bottles, which a lot of people love. So, yeah, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Army Painter war paints. They're fine. I've played with them. No adverse effects. Nothing about them struck me as, So, yeah. Currently, I'm playing with MIG Ammo, their acrylic line. I'm playing with their metallics. And in fact, I'll be releasing a couple videos soon about how I do... because I'll be doing it for my own channel, not for Mini Wargaming. About how because basically I've become a huge fan of the metallic red and using the ghost tints and stuff like that on top of metallic finishes to get really interesting effects. And so I've been recently working on my Wraith Lord. Anybody who's following on Instagram, I posted a picture or a video of this guy, and like I've got like the sword here. Look at that sword. I just love that sword and the red. And so this guy is mostly painted with MIG Ammo metallics and with Forge World clear color on top. I used Forge World's Calif blue for the sword, and I used Forge World Angron red for all the red, and Calif blue on his head, as well as other colors as well on the head as well. But otherwise, he's a mixture of MIG Ammo and. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a video of this guy, in a little bit better detail than what I just showed. But I've been using the MIG Ammo metallics, and a lot of fun. Some pros and cons, but otherwise, I didn't even know they had an acrylic line until I went to Adepticon this year and met their North America distributor, and really great guy. And been playing with those as well. Lots of like I mentioned previously, a lot of artists will find particular paint lines and then stick with it. The nature of my game is I'm not beholden to any particular paint line. Oftentimes in videos you will see me using Citadel, only because it's very common and you know what I mean, like it's easy to get a hold of and what have you, because they got a bit larger distribution net than a lot of other companies because they're the big boys, right? But anyway, I've been using a lot of paint lines and I'm experimenting and playing, and you know what I mean? So, and that's just the nature of, my game, because I mean, you guys ask me all sorts of questions about all different paint lines, and I'd like to be able to offer an actual educated opinion and, you know, voiced my concerns about things in that I've found, you know, that were lacking in a paint line and things that were great about a paint line. And, you know, the more I play with all these colors, the better, right? Because, I mean, then you guys can say, well, at least Kris, I mean, he's played with like every paint line and he's, you know, done many videos and, you know what I mean? Like, I trust his opinion. And that's what matters, is that when I say something about something, that it's true and that it is of value to you guys and, you know, steers you guys in a path that, you know, you want, that you find desirable and helps you. That's what it's about. It's about helping you. So, yeah. Samuel Berg, shiny. I know it's shiny. It's shiny. Adrian Trollis, Army Painter updated their range at the end of 2016. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know because, I mean, I don't really use their sprays too often anymore. Not that I'm, you know, I don't encourage anybody using them. They're a fantastic tool. And their warp colors, no, I did not know that they updated their line. I mean, like, I haven't played with like my Reapers in a while. I have like, you know, I've got like the Reaper Master Series paints. I got a whole bunch of these over here, and I mean, like, I haven't even touched them. You know, so I got lots and lots of paints, tons and tons. And yeah, so it's only time. But I mean, like, I can only play with so many colors at so often. And, you know, right now I'm currently playing with MIG ammo because when I met fella at Adepticon, you know, I kind of promised him to, you know, do kind of a review and, you know, play with these colors. And if I liked them, you know what I mean, get more going. And so, you know, it's a little bit of exposure for them too, because I don't know how many of you guys have ever played with MIG ammo paints. And so far, I'm liking their metallics. They don't smell like normal acrylics though, but their thinner works with their paint. Like I've been playing with MIG ammo's silver. Where is it? Silver. Anyway, I've been playing with their silver. I can't find the color right now. And using their thinner. And the paint in the airbrush, it looks like liquid metal. It almost looks like mercury in the brush well. Like in the brush, it almost looks like mercury. So that means that pigment is really, really, really fine. You know when you thin down GW metals, you can see it's kind of flakes kind of floating around and stuff like that. That's not what this MIG ammo looks like. And even the scale 75, it doesn't look that way. The pigment is very, very fine and tight. And when you add just the thinner to it, bang, it just looks like liquid metal. It looks like, you know, like Terminator 2 when he's like liquid metal. That's what it looks like. And when you spray it on, it goes on nice and smooth. It has almost a chrome finish to it. Really, really nice. I was really impressed with it. I was doing my Wraith Lord sword with it, and I was thoroughly impressed with it. But mind you though, don't get me wrong, I'm not blowing complete sunshine up your arses here, because I mean, I wasn't terribly impressed with Old Brass, their Old Brass paint, because I was brushing it on, and because I mean, like, I use the airbrush and I also brush the colors, right? So I'm going back and forth, you know, because I'm basically testing them out. And yeah, their Old Brass, I'm not terribly impressed with how it covers using a brush so far. But yeah. Where are we in the comments? I have no idea. Shaggy Dog, anyone ever tried thinning metallics into a wash? Yeah, done it many times. I've shown it in many videos. Basically, whenever you want to bring back, or if you even want to glaze with the metallics, say for example you go with a dark metal and then come in with, say, Runefang steel, and you bring it down to a glaze consistency, you can create a very soft, subtle transition through the metallics, you know, breaking it down to a glaze. So yeah, you can take it down that thin. Thinning it like a wash and applying it like a wash could be interesting. I mean, there's really not any need for it. I mean, if you say you base coated in, say, Runefang steel and then broke Lead Belcher down into a wash consistency, sure. I find that when you really break down, especially the Games Workshop, as I mentioned, when, you know, you can see all the little flakes, when you break it down really thin like that, it doesn't, it kind of loses a bit of that metallic quality. So yeah, you'd have to apply many shade washes of that metallic color to bring back that metallic shine. Otherwise, you just have this speckling going on. So, something else to bear in mind too. Mind you, though, when as I mentioned, thinning some of these colors like the MIG ammo. But like I said, the MIG ammos don't smell like normal acrylics. They almost not like the solvent based stuff, but just different, I guess. It's how they make it. And what is with all the paint companies being in Spain? What is that? What's that about? Anybody in Spain can answer that for me? Or anybody in Europe who knows the answer? Why all the paint companies are in Spain? Like why that is? Do they have the monopoly on painting? Is it because Picasso was there? And they said, you know what, damn it, we're gonna control all the acrylic paints. Except with a Spanish accent. I can't do a Spanish accent. Anyway, let's do an email. This is, get ready, turn your headphones down, because here it comes. Email time. Email time. Don't get me wrong, Carl. I like that one. But the first one, I think, is still my fave. Anywho, and of course, we can always thank Guymere Alfair for those jingles, taking the time out of his busy day to provide us a little smile. Anyway, this is from Phil. Philippe. Anyway, hey Kris, I've been watching the show for a while and I like it. It's nice that you move around between subject and the feel of it is great. Ooh, the feel of it is great. He loves the feeling. Well, he didn't say he loved it. He just likes it. Anyway, I digress. I'm having a hard time getting constructive critiques on stuff that I paint. Recently started painting a mini after a 10-year break. Oof. If you have a minute and feel like it, I could use your feedback on some of these. Otherwise, still a big thank you for the show, Phil. So this is Phil. This is Phil's work. He took a 10-year break and he's coming back into the fold. And so he wants an honest opinion on his work. Well, he came to the right place. I like it. I drill out the barrels of the guns, but that's just me. Of course, sometimes I'm guilty of not doing it myself, but hey, you know what? It's not about me. Now, is this free-handed? Are both of these free-handed, or are these sculpted onto those plates? Because if this is freehand, I mean, I'm not that familiar with these models, and I don't think they come with these little details on them like that. So if this is freehand, that's some nice freehanding. You could probably go a little bit further with the freehanding if you're going to go for that truly kind of non-metallic look on them. Just get a little bit more contrast going. Again, like I said, the bolters and the guns, I think could use it drilling out of the barrels. When you are applying your shade wash, because it looks like you're applying a fairly uniform shade wash onto the model, which a lot of times I tell people like not to do, because you know what I mean, you end up with these big kind of marks all over the tank, and you know it ends up just kind of looking like, okay, well that's how he shade washed it, right? He just hit it, he just shellacked it onto the model and it performed a uniform tint, versus if you had applied it fairly deliberately around points and around joints and in corners, stuff like that, and then came back and then, you know, dry brushed and cut the edges and such, you know, just in a much more controlled fashion. Of course, if you're a big fan of, you know, applying the shade wash over the entirety of the surface, try thinning it down and allowing the thinned out shade wash to just reside in the recesses and providing just a very slight tint. Because oftentimes when you apply the shade wash over the entire surface, you end up changing the value of your base coat, and you end up bringing it really far down, and then you end up kind of like dry brushing more layers to try and bring that up. And I've previously done a video, I think it hasn't been released yet actually, on dry brushing, and it's kind of an updated pep talk on dry brushing. And so that's going to be in Mini Wargaming as well. I think that's actually Monday's video, I think. But anyway, I think it's good. Again, like I said, I just, you know, you might want to avoid, you know, the overall shade washing of the entire surface. Like if you want that darker quality, mix a little bit of black or the shade or the like Nuln Oil into, is it Nuln Oil or is that Drakhoff Nightshade? Kind of hard to tell. But otherwise, yeah, go with a darker base tone if you want that darker look. Don't rely on the shade wash to provide that, uneven kind of texturing over it. I mean, it does give you a bit of a camouflage look, and that's maybe something you like. And again, I mean, these are your models, so paint them however you like. And if you like that effect, then by all means, carry on. I personally find that, a lot of times the shade washes, they make us lazy. And so, I tend to discourage people from over-reliance on the shade washes, applying them over the entire surface like that. Be more controlled and deliberate. I like your work on the headlights. That little soft transition in there is really nice. It obviously looks like those little things are glass and transparent. But otherwise, I think this is a good paint job. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If you were a commission painting service and I sent that and I got that back from you, I would say awesome. I'm very happy, and I look forward to sending you more models. Here is a Dark Angel. Again, very nice. Highlights, not bad. Edged highlights. No, nothing bad. I think being mindful. Drill at your barrels. Be mindful of your mold lines. Thinning your colors down and such. I know it can be kind of tricky. Also, fine detail brush. Really, really helps. I again, be mindful where your paint is hitting. It looks like this was silver, and then you might have hit it with a bit of a green. Looks like you made it base coated and then did a overall dry brush of the highlight, which is fine. It's a nice technique. Your base coat looks nice and smooth. I don't see anything overall. I don't see anything wrong with this paint job. Just some finer little nitpicky things. But again, this is a tiny little model surface, and this is nitpicking. There's going to be 100 of these guys on the tables. So, for what I'm looking at, that's a good paint job. Are you entering it in competitions? I don't know. But what I'm looking at looks like a good paint job. There are some finer points that could be cleaned up, but I think that's a minor issue. Oh, look at this. This is cool. I like your transitions going on this banner. This is very, very cool. Look at that. That's scary as F. I think, this is just me, but I would probably go with another highlight up on the skull, just capturing just some of these little brighter points you got going on, like on the brow, where the teeth are. But, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. I like, the little symbols of corn almost look like they're painted in blood kind of thing. I love like this dirtiness on the bottom. Like, is this blood stained? Is this dirt? I don't know. This looks like it was like a human hide, or whose human hide is that big? But maybe it's Ogren hide or something. I don't know. But this is very, very cool. I like it. Oh yeah, the rest of the model. I gotta look at the rest of the model. Highlighting on him looks good enough. Nothing wrong with that. It's about on par. The blade could be something interesting. Don't be afraid to do something with the blade. Or I guess if you went with metals, then I guess you could throw some like blood on it or something. Your base material, it looks pretty cool. If that's consistent with, say, your gaming environment or, your game tables, I think your choice for the color scheme for the demon is actually very interesting. It actually has kind of a natural crustacean kind of look to it. This kind of gray flesh with the red at the outer edges kind of thing. That's kind of like, it reminds me of like shellfish at first. And it's just I'm finding it all very interesting. It's a very interesting color scheme. I've not seen it. And the big purple tongue, of course, draws your attention in to the model, which as it should. The icon of corn, could use something. Could use a little bit more love. Maybe a little bit more of a brass. or splatter of blood, or something along those lines. I don't know. But otherwise, I think that's a great paint job. Yeah, that was it. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Phil, for sending that in. Yeah, and so hopefully you found the feedback useful. Again, just some of the overall, I don't see anything wrong with your paint jobs. Your dry brushing is getting a bit of a chalky result. So again, you might want to apply, only apply maybe 1 or 2 dry brushings, just kind of coming up, just 1 or 2 layers of like color transition. Again, make sure that you keep a lot of the paint off the bristles as you're working that dry brush. Because, again, you can end up getting chalky effect. But again, on your Space Marine, the Space Marine looked fine. And it looked like you did you created a transition. And it might be dry brushing. I'm not 100%, but it might have been dry brushing. And so, and from the, what is it, the Torox, that looked like dry brushing to me. But that looked fine. You'd capture just the edges. I didn't see like any brush strokes anywhere, you know what I mean? So that's what you're looking to avoid, of course. But it looked like the colors were just built up just a little bit, like on the Torox. Torox? I think it's called the Torox, right? I'm just gonna keep calling it Torox. Anyway, so again, hopefully that helps. Hopefully, makes you a little bit more mindful. Again, I always tell people, the 3 things that you want to be watching when you're getting into painting, especially when you're trying to get better at it. It's your assembly, right? Using the right glue, not using too much glue, cleaning the mold lines, drilling holes in barrels, stuff like that. You don't have to drill the holes in the barrels, but it kind of takes a lot of people out of the moment, when they just see, like, especially when you didn't even paint like a black dot on the barrel. It just left just bare metal, right? So minor thing, but it's one of those small nitpicky kind of things that a lot of people, harp on about. So assembly, most important. Priming, not over priming your model. And again, this kind of falls into the army painter topic that we were on just a moment ago about using the colored primers. Tendency with the colored primers is to over prime because, again, you're trying to get that color coverage over the entire model. And you know what I mean? That can lead to over priming. And I often discourage people from that. So if you're trying to get better at your painting, you need to get away from using the colored primers and concentrate more on your priming and building your colors up. And I often, there's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with using, say, a black primer, but don't over prime the model. If you see a little bit of bare material showing through in, say, corners and stuff like that, that most likely is fine. Because again, you just got to get a little bit more even in your coverage. And when I recently had shown Retributor armor and priming and how I use a spray and I prime. And basically I always go like one face, like flat on, straight on at the model. And I do just 2 pumps at about 12 inches away, or about a foot, or 30 centimeters, whichever your bend. And I just do 2 blasts. And then I turn the model like 25 degrees, or 45 degrees. 90 degrees? 90 degrees. 90 degrees. And 2 blasts. And 2 blasts, 2 blasts. And then 2 from the top, maybe 1 from the underside, just to kind of catch some of the underside stuff. And that's it. And that's all the priming. And it keeps the primer very nice and light. Sometimes I can still see, like if I'm doing a pewter model and I'm doing white, sometimes even over the flat areas, I can still see that hint of the primer, the metal showing through. That's fine. Because the primer is not there to provide, a solid background for the color. It's only there to provide a surface for the paint to grab a hold of. Yes, it can also be a backing for your colors. And if you're priming in black, you can build your colors up and leaving the black as, your shadow tones, and it'll help you in that regards. But painting from black and starting from black as the primer is a bad move. You should go, if you prime black, you should still do a base coat in black, a base coat with your regular paint in black. If you want bright colors, you got to prime it in white or light gray, but white. If you want it bright, you prime it white. As I say, want it bright? Prime it white. So a lot of people struggle with bright colors, whites, yellows, reds, oranges, all those really bright colors. And then they're like, well, but I prime in black. Stop priming in black. Start priming in white. You'll be much happier. Where are we in the comments? Yeah, Haldane. Yeah, the banner, awesome. Yeah, like I love that banner. That was great. It really captured the feel that was dead skin, and I love the weathering, that all that transition and stuff like that in there. It was fantastic stuff. It looked great. It was a really nice effect, and he pulled it off very, very well. Mad Cow Crazy, 3D modeling vehicles is easy. I could teach you to do it in 10 minutes. The Tiger E is basically a box. The Panzers 3 and 4 have a lot more shapes and angles to them. I will model some this week and see if I can send Kris some pics for next week's show. Please do, please. You know, if you are a budding artist, or, you know what I mean, not just, I'm not talking just miniature painting, but like, crap, who was it who sent me pictures of his, that was Plasma, I believe. Plasma sent us his spray painted pictures of space and stuff like that, using that really, you know, fantastic method for getting those paintings done. And that was awesome. And I remember somebody before showed us drawings and stuff like that. And, you know, if you have anything you want to share like that, please feel free. This doesn't have to be just entirely about miniatures. This can be all things and everything art related. And, you know, feel free, because again, I mean, sometimes we just don't feel like painting miniatures. Sometimes we just want to draw something, and that's fine. You know, again, art is about expression, and express yourself however you want. That's what art is. Good art is expression, man. It's just expression. That's all it is. And every artist is a reflection of the world. And sometimes artists reflect ugly things because they're seeing ugly things. Some artists show beautiful things because they see beautiful things, or maybe they want to see the beautiful things. They want to see the world as they want it, right? That's how you have artists, you know, who create like Star Trek, right? Because they want to see a better place. And some people show ugly pictures and scary things because they've seen the scary things. So it's just expression. Mad Cow Crazy, you can prime a model using varnish. I guess that works. Yeah, a lot of people will use a matte varnish as a primer. A lot of painters, well, a lot of modelers will do it. Yeah, a lot of modelers will do it. I've seen it, like, for example, with like these Bandai kits. I bent my Wookiee the other day, but anyway, yeah, with these Star Wars kits, these are from Bandai. I love these kits, man. These are fantastic. Anyway, yeah, like this model, I'm gonna do like how normal modelers paint these models, because model painters don't paint the way we do, where we prime and I'm gonna take these damn things out. They're broken anyway. Damn it. Anyway, because I bent my Wookiee the other day. Anyway, modelers, yeah, they paint them. They don't paint models like how we paint models, where we basically, you know, prime it, base coat it, shade wash it, highlight, glaze it, decals, done, right? Modelers will maybe prime it or give it a prime of like a matte varnish, right? Prime it and then start weathering, right? Especially with these models, I've seen tons of people just start with the weathering. They'll just give it a matte and then they'll start weathering it right away. They'll use the bare color of the model to be the base color and everything like that. So I'm probably going to give that a try, because it sounds like fun, and it'll probably give me very not realistic results, but very, very consistent results, like how they did it for the movies. My X-Wing and TIE Fighter and my ATST, I did like miniatures. I primed them, I base coated them, I shaded them, and then weathered them, kind of like how ILM originally did the weathering back in the day for the movies. I still haven't done my Falcon yet. I still got to do my Millennium Falcon. Can you see the Millennium? Yeah, you can see the Millennium Falcon right here. Yeah, I still got to weather this guy. I got the decals done on the top, so I could like weather the top right now, but I still got to do the decals underneath. So, yeah. I was going to turn the lights on, but I don't feel like it right now. Try not to kneecap my Stormtrooper either. There we go. Yeah. What time we at? Holy crap, it's 2 minutes to. Why didn't you guys warn me that we're so close to the end of the show? Jeez Louise. I gotta take a sip here. I don't believe it. We're at the end of the show. we're at the end. How did we get to the end so quickly? I don't know. Was I gum flapping the entire time when we were doing this? Danish artist, what scale is the Falcon? The Falcon? The scale is 144. The Millennium Falcon is 144 from Bandai. These are all the Bandai kits I've got. The Millennium Falcon is 144. Slave 1 is 144, and apparently Django's version will be 144 because essentially it's going to be the same kit. It's just they're going to recolor the plastic. And the new AT-AT is 144 scale, which is kind of a bummer because the AT-ST and the Snowspeeder, they're 140 or 144 or 48. I think they're 148. Anyway, they're 148, and the AT-AT is 144, which is kind of annoying because I kind of wanted to do, the AT-ST with the AT-AT and the Snowspeeder as a big kind of diorama. And now I'm just going to have to settle for the Snowspeeder and the AT-ST as a diorama, and that kind of pisses me off. I wish Bandai would especially like the Millennium Falcon. I want the Millennium Falcon to be in 172, but mind you, it'd be a big kit. There's also a kit that this Russian company does. It's a 1/2700 of the the Star Destroyer, and so like the kit is like I think it's 20 some inches long. I think it's like 2 feet long. Maybe it's damn near 30. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a big honking kit, and I'd like to get that one as well. It doesn't look like a very difficult kit. It's just because it's big parts, right? But super detailed and would like fit in well with the Bandai kits, because the Bandai kits, nobody can top these guys in the detail department because their kits are just so super detailed. The Millennium Falcon, like, I don't know. I probably talked about this before in the show, but the Millennium Falcon, all the piping and everything like that in the sides here, that all had to be glued in. The little pipes and stuff like that, like the tiniest little details had to be attached. And like you got like all the little pipings inside the little areas, man. And like the cockpit, I mean, I've got Chewie and Han sitting in the front here, and I've got Rey and Finn sitting behind them. But otherwise, yeah, because this one is the obviously you can tell because it's got the square dish, right? This is the Force Awakens Millennium Falcon. So yeah, fun. But I wish they would do the Millennium Falcon like in 172, so it would be match all the rest of the line, because all the other ships are all 172 except Millennium Falcon, Slave 1, and Slave 1. I don't have Slave 1 yet. But everything else is 172 as far as all the space fighters and everything. So yeah. Anyway, Haldane Urban has said, Kris, we've got the end from the beginning via the middle. Whoa. Whoa, that's deep, man. Whoa. Dr. Santos, just before the end, and I have to depart. Thanks for the show, Kris, and the monkeys. Thank you. So if you are a commission painting service, or you are just somebody who is painting and wants a little bit of honest feedback, and or want some help with the color scheme, what have you, or you just have a general question in painting all together, if you're brand new to the hobby, feel free to write an email or join us live, of course, to ask your question. Send it to Kris@miniwargaming.com. Of course, I also have the Twitter, the Instagram, and the Facebook page, Way the Brush. Of course, if you type in waythebrush.com, it immediately takes you to the Facebook page. But until I get a website for waythebrush.com, because I'd like to have just a central kind of, Way the Brush, and have all our Way the Brush needs in one little space. Way the Brush t-shirts, of course, help the cause and make you look good. I mean, and who doesn't want to look good? I mean, don't you want to look good? I want to look good. And when I wear my Way the Brush shirt, I'm filled with confidence. Like, I'm up to here in confidence when I have my Way the Brush. Like right now, I've got my Adepticon shirt on, which is awesome. But when I've got my Way the Brush on, it's up here. My confidence is like up here. Of course, until somebody tells me something, and then I just completely deflate. So next week's episode, don't be surprised when you see the background is a little bit different. And of course, my hair is in rollers, and I'm in my bathrobe, and I'm wearing a facial mask, like a mud mask or something. Not that I'm getting facials, but anyway. yeah, because we're going to be shooting from home and, all that entails. Most likely. Again, I'm probably going to do another test just to make sure beforehand. But otherwise, yes, I will most likely be doing the show from home next week. Wade the Brush, episode 159 it will be. Wow, 159. Where does the time go? I have no idea. Haldane Urbanist, surveys show that a Wade the Brush t-shirt makes you a better painter. See? And that's a statistic. See, the math is right there. The science checks out. The math checks out. So, Wade the Brush t-shirts, if you're wearing one, statistics prove that you makes you a better painter. So, you got to get one. What was that last week about the snake oil? Alrighty, guys, I'm gonna take off because it's a beautiful Saturday, and I might try and get a little bit of sun in. So, take care of your brushes; they'll take care of you, and I will see you guys next week at this same time, same channel. Wrong mouse. Next week, hopefully, it's one computer, and I don't have multiple computers to have to deal with, and just all general kind of ass grabbery.